Ask the Atoms.
Welcome to Ask the Atoms. NEET preparation series brings to you some of the most important NEET concepts that if you get to know it thoroughly, you are sure to get 4 marks in NEET. This is one such a concept, that is solubility product, that comes in equilibrium chapter. I have been seeing this topic quite often in NEET, like every year it appears. Let us try to learn the basics very quickly. There is another video on problem solving for this particular concept. You either go to that problem solving and come back to the basics if you have some doubts, or you look at the basics and then go for the problem solving session. This would be sufficient for you to master the entire concept of solubility product. Okay. What is solubility product? It is given by the representation or the notation capital K and in the subscript SP. SP stands for solubility product. What is it? It is nothing but, it comes in the equilibrium chapter. So it is going to be another constant, or it is nothing but the equilibrium constant for a salt. Let us consider a situation. Okay, you have a beaker. Okay, you are standing in your chemistry lab. You are asked to prepare a saturated solution of some salt. Let us take copper sulfate. It's going to be beautiful blue color. You are asked to prepare. So what you do? You prepare a concentrated solution of the saturated solution of copper sulfate. How do you do that? You take some water first in the beaker. You try to add spoons and spoons of copper sulfate. If you're going to do it in a crude method, suppose you do not know the solubility value exactly, you do not know how much of salt to add, you just start by adding spoons and spoons of copper sulfate to your beaker. What happens? The color changes. The color becomes blue now. The water color changes to blue. Still, if you are able to still dissolve, you still keep adding. At one point of time, you will notice that there are few crystals remaining in the bottom. So from few of the crystals that you have added is not going to dissolve anymore. That means the solution has reached saturation. It is not going to dissolve anymore. This is called the saturated solution, right? Now, if you see, this saturated solution has an equilibrium in it. What is the equilibrium? Here you can see copper sulfate is in solid form. This copper sulfate is in solid form, and here I have copper sulfate inside my water in the ionic form. So they are dispersed, and that is what you call they are dissolved. You call them dissolved. They are in the ionic form or the aqueous form in actual to say. So there is an equilibrium between this copper sulfate and between the dissolved copper sulfate ions. That equilibrium is represented by an equilibrium arrow and given an equilibrium constant. So let us see how to represent this particular practical situation theoretically using an equation. Our equation is going to be copper sulfate in solid state in its saturated solution. It is in equilibrium with its ions in the aqueous state, and the ions are copper 2 plus aqueous and sulfate, so SO4 2 minus aqueous. One cation and an anion. Now you have to balance, see that the equation is balanced. This is simple equation, it is already balanced. Now when I write the equilibrium constant for this expression, it is nothing but like what we know already, the product of concentration of products divided by the product of concentration of reactants raised to the power of stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is 1 here, we don't have to worry about them. So this product of Cu2 plus concentration of Cu2 plus product of concentration of sulfate divided by product of concentration of copper sulfate. This is our usual equilibrium constant expression. But you see it here, this is in solid state, and also this particular amount copper sulfate in solid state is not going to vary. The equilibrium keeps exchanging, that is, this gets converted to this and this gets converted back to this, but the amount of the salt here would not change. This is going to be constant. Since it is a constant, I can take this value along with my constant. There is already a constant called equilibrium constant. I bring it along with this here, and I turn this expression to something what I call KSP. So KSP is nothing but constant into the equilibrium constant into concentration of copper sulfate, which is equal to the product of the concentration of product alone raised to their powers. So see, my equation has now modified from this big complex equilibrium constant equation to a very small equation where I have to multiply only the concentration of the product ions alone. So this is my KSP equation. So KSP is concentration of copper 2 plus into concentration of SiO2 minus. Now in other words, instead of writing copper and sulfate ions inside the concentration brackets, I can also write it as, look at this, I can represent the concentration of copper 2 plus as S. What is S? S is going to be the amount of or the concentration of copper 2 plus that is going to be in the solution. If this is going to be S, this also is going to be S. Okay? Because they have come from the same compound. See, both of them have come from the same compound. So this is going to be S, this is also going to be S. Only that you have to keep it in mind. If this is going to be 1 copper, you write 1 here. If it's going to be 2 copper, you write 2S here. Okay, depending on the stoichiometry, you have to give the stoichiometry here. We'll see some more examples, okay, later in the last session of our class. Now, I incorporate this value into the KSP equation and see what happens to our KSP equation. It becomes S into S. And the power of each will be 1, 1. So you don't have to take the powers. Nothing but S square. So KSP has reduced to something very simple. S square. And what is S? S is called the concentration of the particular ion in the solution, or it is called the molar solubility of the particular ion, or it is also called molar solubility of the particular compound. Okay, so it can be given in units. What are the units of S? I will tell you. The units of S can be, the SI units are in mole per liter or in molarity, molar units. It sometimes they can also be given in gram per liter. But this is not going to be our unit. The most common SI unit is going to be mole per liter or molar units. But this is about solubility. Now let me tell you what means by the word solubility. Look at this. KSP is directly proportional to solubility. So greater the value of KSP, greater is going to be the solubility value. Or you can say they are directly proportional, right? Higher the constants. For example, if you say a particular salt has a higher value of KSP, that means the salt is very well soluble. This is what you can infer from this equation. So both are directly proportional, KSP and S, the solubility. Okay. Now let us go to solving some equations. Okay. Now let me tell you how to write the solubility equation for any salt. Let me take a salt. This was again one part of a neat question. I'll take the same question. MY3. This salt, it looks a little complex because we do not know what is M, we do not know what is Y. Okay, but we have to write the equation and we have to write the KSP constant for this. How do you write? First at the equilibrium. So very simple. How do you split a salt? In this manner. In two components, always the left component is going to be a positive, the cation. The right component is going to be your anion. So how do I denote or how do I deduce the charge of the particular cation or the anion from the valencies or from the subscripts given? Look at this, the subscript is, it is called a subscript 3. So where it has got, I hope you remember how you write the ionic equations in your class 10th, right? So this 3 has come from the valency 3. So M has got a charge of plus 3. So that is why the 3 has come here. So from here, I deduce that M has got an oxidation state or a charge of 3 plus. Now remember, if this is going to have a charge of 3 plus, this side, the anionic side is also going to have a charge of 3 minus. Only then the salt can remain neutral. Now see, 1V1M is present, which has got a charge of 3 plus. So I just write it here. 1M with a charge of 3 plus. And here you think about Y. There are 3Y, right? 3Y each, and totally they amount to the charge of 3 minus. 3 Y's share 3 minus charge. So there are going to be 3 Y's, and each of them are going to share 1 minus charge. Okay? That's it, we have written our equation. Now, what is going to be our KSP? Always look for KSP, do not look at the left hand side because it's going to be in solid state and we don't have to include it in the solid product equation. So it is nothing but concentration of M3 plus power 1 because there is the stoichiometry here is over 1, and here concentration of Y minus power 3, and it is 3Y minus. Okay, 3Y minus the whole power 3. This is how we have to write. or in simple words, with using the denomination as solvent. Let us try to write. This is going to be, for this, it's going to be 1s. For this, it's going to be 3s. Now the KSP is going to be s power 1 into 3s, the whole cube. Don't forget that you give the cube. This number, the stoichiometry number, should come in the power as well as before, just as a coefficient. Okay. Now simplify this. S. Try to bring all the s together. This is 3 power 3 and s power 3. 3 power 3 is 9 and s power 3 is s cube. So already there is over yes or 1 s over here. So 9 s power 4. This is my simple or simplified KSP equation. Okay, I hope now you have understood almost like how to form an equation of KSP, even if you do not know what the nature of the ions given in a compound. From this, let us move on to QSP, KSP, and how they both are related, and then we'll have a small discussion on common ion effect. We'll try to conclude along with that. All right. So coming to the last part of this topic, common ion effect. Common ion effect is a very, very simple concept. It follows from the Le-Chatelier's principle. So what Le-Chatelier's principle tell you? If someone is going to get disturbed, they will act, they will react. So it's, I would say Le-Chatelier's principle is the chemistry equivalent of the third law of, what do you say? Newton's third law, action-reaction law, right? You know, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Similarly, in chemistry, any disturbance you do to the system will try to counteract that particular effect by some means, some other means. For example, you play with the left hand side, it plays with the right hand side. Okay, so it plays oppositely. So ion effect. So it comes under your Le-Chatelier's principle. The name itself says, right? And I'm not going to tell you or discuss in detail about Le-Chatelier's principle because that's not our concern. Especially only solvent product is our concern today. Common ion effect is in place or is in action when I have two different solutions. For example, let me take, I have HCl and I have AgCl. So here see, HCl is my solvent. I can use HCl as my solvent here. AgCl is going to be my solute. Each of them have their own equilibrium, right? Even HCl, I wouldn't say HCl has got an equilibrium. I would just write to write. HCl has got an equilibrium like H plus and Cl minus, and AgCl also has got an equilibrium, okay, Ag plus and Cl minus. Now look at this. This is my solute, right? My solute is put in a solvent HCl. Now, what is the question that might ask you is, or how this concept may be tested is, I have a solute which has got a particular KSP value. Whenever they say it has got a particular KSP value, the KSP values are taken in water. So now they ask you the same solute. I take and I am putting it inside HCl solution. What would happen to my KSP value of my AgCl? Will my AgCl, what will happen to the solubility or the precipitation ability of AgCl? This is how the questions are asked. So look at this. There is something common, right? The name itself suggests there is a common ion. There is going to be a common ion somewhere. Come on, try to pick the common ion. It's Cl minus here and Cl minus here. So earlier, when my AgCl was in water, there was no common ion in water because water only gives you H plus and OH minus. AgCl has got Ag plus and Cl minus. Whereas when you put AgCl into HCl, right? When you put this into this, I have a common friend. There is someone common, right? Cl minus. There is one more Cl minus for every AgCl that is in my solute. So now what is going to happen? This is nothing but this is similar to Le-Chatelier's principle. Like it is addition. This particular problem is the same as addition of extra Cl minus to AgCl. What happens when I add Cl minus to AgCl? You would know that when I am adding lot of products, the equilibrium shifts to the left side. That means this reaction will be more pronounced, right? The equilibrium shifts left side, or the reactant formation is more pronounced, more favored. This is how you have learned the same concept. So here Cl minus concentration is high, and that is similar to adding higher amount of additional amount of Cl minus to my solution. That will result in the left side or the backward or the reverse reaction, because of which there is more precipitation of AgCl. Okay. Why do I say more precipitation? Because it's ions join together to form a compound. So there is less of dissolution, more of precipitation. Both are opposite. Dissolution, precipitation are opposite terms. So that is it. So common ion effect, how can it help you? Especially in precipitation reactions. For example, there are certain salts that you cannot precipitate in normal water or normal certain solvents. So you are going to choose a particular solvent which has got a common ion to that of your particular salt. Then if they are going to have common ions, it will definitely bring the reverse reaction. Reverse reaction is favored, and finally lead to the precipitation of the salt. This particular concept finds excellent applications in purification of compounds, where you will not be able to purify if you do not have the idea of this particular concept. So with this, we are done with the solvative product concept. So try to learn this concept and you are sure to get 4 marks in your NEET.